amazing with lots of learning and wisdom flowing in my life, and I have seen tremendous changes within myself. So it has been truly amazing. And as Patricia says, that there are three important aspects to everybody's learning and evolution, which are the first point, very important, is meditation. So learning meditation, practicing meditation, and teaching meditation to one and all. And the second important aspect is reading right spiritual books. And third is sharing experiences. So with this, our book club, we get the opportunity to share the important books that we have read and share the important learnings out of them. So here I am today with a powerful magical book that I have read recently, and its name, and this is the book which I have read, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So let me share my screen. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, Ekta ji.
Okay, thank you. So this is a book beautifully written by author Richard Bach, and this is a story about a seagull who loves flying. And unlike other seagulls who are on the ocean just merely for eating, but he is living not for eating, but to learn more and more skills of flying and to reach the utmost heights of the sky. So this author, Richard Bach, just few lines about the author. Richard Bach is an eminent American author, widely known for some of his 1970s biggest sellers, such as Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which we are reviewing today, Envisions 1, and there are many more, but I have jotted down just 3 because these are highly recommended by our PSSM family. So Richard Bach is an avid aviator, and his passion for flying is also reflected in his books as well, which we are reading today. In this, the seagull has amazing passion about flying and learning the more and more skills of flying. So this author, he met an accident, Richard Bach, in year 2012, when his aircraft while landing crashed upside down. So he was severely injured and was hospitalized for 4 months. And then his near-death experience inspired him to finish the 4th part of this book, which was originally published in 3 parts. So today, in this book, which I'm covering, it has got 3 parts. I'm yet to read the 4th one, but the complete edition, which contains the 4th one, is also available in the market. So if you want to read that, you can read the complete edition also. So we are starting the part 1. So this book has got 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So when I started reading this book, I could correlate the journey of every spiritual seeker through this book. So the author has beautifully described the journey of every spiritual seeker through the medium of a seagull. So there are 3 parts. In part 1, he has described what are the struggles this bird goes through, and despite the discouragement he faces from his loved ones, from his family, from his friends, he doesn't give up and he keeps practicing and practicing. So until he attains the perfection. And then there are certain important lessons and few important and powerful lines which I have tried to make note of them in my presentation so we can all together learn. And so as I mentioned, that this seagull has the love for flying rather than merely to catch food. He is living just for the love of flying. So he faces a lot of discouragement. His own parents say that why can't you behave just like the normal girl, like any other girl? He just goes to the ocean, catches the food and comes back. But why you always day and night tirelessly you keep practicing? What are you going to achieve through it? So he faces a lot of discouragement, but he doesn't give up. His passion keeps on driving himself to learn new skills, try himself towards to the extent that he was exhausted, but he didn't give up. So one day he learns how to fly flawlessly and reach the utmost heights of this sky. So he was very excited that, okay, now I have learned this new skill, and if I'm going to share it with my flock, and they will be super excited too, he thought. And then he goes to them and he says that, see, I have learned something new, so we all can be free, we can fly so high, we don't just have to fly just a little above the sea, but we can see, we can figure out the new heights of the sky. So they to be his disappointment, they weren't even excited, or in fact they they said that, why you did this. So the community people, they outcasted him and said that you should be centered for shame because you have broken the laws of our community. So this is so surprising that one person, we can relate it to the uh, person who gets enlightenment, just like our Sir Patri. So if people who get enlightenment and they speak the truth, this is how society behaves with them. We have few examples in the past also, what was done to Jesus and what was done to Mahavira when they spoke their truth. So society is ignorant, they can't understand what they are speaking, but but if at some point they can understand, then there is a lot of scope for all of us to learn, and we all have the same potential, and we can reach to the same heights where those people have reached. So this is one important, the learnings lessons which I really liked. I have highlighted them in this color, purple color. So he said he felt after he learned how to fly to that height. He felt that we can lift ourselves out of ignorance. We can find ourselves as a creature of excellence, intelligence, and skill, and we can be free. This is so amazing. So he wanted to show this to his members of flock, which alas, they didn't understand him, and they in fact outcasted him. And so um, towards the end of the part 1, he left his flock and he started living towards the one of the cliffs, which was far away from there, from his community, and he was living happily there. He was every day flying, he was loving it. So until one day he finds that there were two girls almost similar to him but very beautiful and brightly lit. They came and they asked him that your time on this planet Earth is up, and now you can join us into the higher worlds. So this was so amazing. So this gives us a lesson that once our lessons on the planet Earth for which we have come are finished, or we have learned them fully, perfectly, we have learned them, then uh, the school is finished. Then those girls who have come, they say that one school is finished and the time has come for another to begin. So this is what they say, that you can now come and join us and learn more lessons into the higher worlds. So this was the end of part 1. In the part 2, the girl goes to the higher world, and as we all on the earth, we feel that after we die, if there is something up, it's heaven. So he also had the same perception. He thought that he's into heaven now, as his outer appearance had also changed and he was more brighter and looking than the one on the earth. So but soon the author has soon broken these myths which he was feeling in just a couple of paragraphs down this. So he says, Jonathan is the name of the seagull, and he is nicknamed as John. So John starts flying there. He starts testing his limits in the higher worlds also, which he was perceiving as heaven. So he thought that there should not be any limit because he is in heaven, so he can go.
Ekta, think you're gone mute.
Yeah, she's on mute. She'll come back. Let's wait for 1 more minute. I think someone joined as host. I think it pushed off. Let's log in.
Yeah. You all can see me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Fine, everything is fine. Okay, let me share my screen again then. Host disabled. Oh, somebody.
You can unmute yourself.
No, I cannot share my screen because it's saying host disabled participant.
Try now, because I think no one is host now.
Let me join as host. I'll come back. Just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a beautiful book, Ekta. I read it when I am in, I think, in college or university. After that, he has written a few more books, and the Illusions, the book is pending from me as well. I had to read that as well. I heard that it's a beautiful book as well.
Yeah, even I have to read that book, Illusions, and I'll also read the fourth part. This book didn't have the fourth part, so I'll read the. I'm again on mute.
Yeah, sorry, Ekta. Let me set you up properly. So you are on the name of Linga Reddy.
He joined as well. Looks like Master joined as host. That's
Okay, let me log out. I will log out from this.
Okay.
So I can log out from my device, right?
Yeah, sir. Please log out.
Yeah, I will log out.
All set.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'll share my screen again. Okay, so here I was. Shall I start from where so we finished part 1. We were on part 2, right? So I was mentioning that this girl, he goes to the. Is my voice clear? I can hear some noise.
Yeah, someone. Yeah, everyone on mute. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah. So he goes on to the higher world, which he perceives in the. Initially, he perceives it as the heaven, and but soon this myth is broken when he starts flying, and he starts testing the limits of his flying. So he couldn't fly, though he was able to fly much faster than on planet Earth, but still there was a limit. He couldn't go on beyond a certain number. So he felt that is this place not heaven? So because there is still limit. So he soon realized that it's going to take a great effort now again to break and go beyond this limitation. So the message was that there are new lessons in the higher worlds as well for us to learn. So soon he starts his practice again about flying, and he meets his escorts and other girls who are just like him there in that world. So there he meets a very prominent master, Elder Guru, he's mentioned as in the book, and he gives these important messages to him. And lessons to that bird. So the girl asked him that there were just a minute. So this girl asked the elder girl, the master, that why there aren't more gulls here, because from where I'm coming there were hundreds, thousands and thousands of them, and why there are so few in this world. So the master replies that it takes millions of lifetimes from where they are to reach here where you have reached, and you are one in million.
Your voice is breaking, Ekta ji. Is there any other device nearby that you are logged into the same?
No, I'm saying it's just
Your
that I
voice
dropped.
is like it's not. I think your mic or your voice.
Is it better?
Yeah, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was mentioning about he meets a master there in the higher world who gives important lessons to him about flying. So he asked him that why there are so less girls here in this world. I have seen so many. From where I'm coming, there were thousands of girls, and here I see very few. So he says it takes millions of lifetimes to reach to this higher world where you have come, and you are one in million. That's why you have made it here. So he says about the humanity. This is a one humanity, you can say, yeah, or about the other girls he was mentioning in the book, that the humanity is just ignorant. They went from one world into another that was almost exactly like it, forgetting where they come from and not caring where they are headed. So the master explains that if the people out there are not learning, they are not finishing their lessons, so the next word if they are going to, that will almost be similar to which they have already been into. So we choose our next word through what we learn in this one. These are the beautiful lines which I picked up. And he says that it takes numerous lifetimes to grasp the idea of perfection, and another numerous lifetimes to understand that purpose of living is to find the perfection and show it forth. So as our beloved Patri sir also says always that enlightenment is all about becoming perfect. We have to become perfect in all the areas. In our thinking should be miraculous. Our speech should be perfect. We should speak right words, and our actions should always be perfect accordingly. So these are the same as when I was reading this, I was feeling that everything in this book is the author is delivering all the same things that we are learning in PSSM from our guru, beloved master Patri sir. So he asked, the seagull asked, John asked him that, is it not heaven where I am right now? So the master laughs and he says, heaven is not a place. It's not a time either. Heaven is being perfect. So he says, as I just said, that if we are perfect in all the three deeds, we can create our heaven anywhere we are. Isn't it? As our sir also says that we can create our reality. So we can create our bestest of the best reality if we become perfect. So these are some of the beautiful lines which I was enjoying thoroughly when I was reading this book. So then he teaches him to how to fly as fast as thought. So the John, the seagull, was amazingly surprised at the capabilities of his master. He was in just a fraction of milliseconds, he was with John, and in another fraction of milliseconds, he was 50 miles away him. So he asked him, how do you do that? Can you teach me? So master says, yes, to fly as fast as thought, you must begin by knowing that you have already arrived. This is so true. When we want to manifest something into our lives, one lesson that every master says that you have to realize that you have already achieved it. You have to feel it. You have to live with it, that you have already achieved it, that into your life. So this is one limitation in our mind. When we think that we can't do it, then we can never do it. So he teaches him this, that you must begin by knowing that you have already arrived. Then he says, this is such a wonderful, beautiful line. Know your inner nature. Stop seeing yourself trapped inside a limited body. Live your true nature, which is everywhere at once, across time and space, which is perfect and unlimited. So this is so beautiful, isn't it? When we do meditate, we also we are every day going nearer to our unlimited nature, which is soul. So he learns how to transcend time and how to fly the past and future. So he says that overcome time and all we have left is now. Overcome space and all we have left is here. So this is the basic reality, that we should live our lives in here and now, because this is the only reality that exists. Oh, time and space are only in our minds, but actually whatever is left when we overcome these two things are here and now. So next, yeah, when he was leaving, the master was going to even further higher words. So before leaving, he said that to John, that the most difficult lesson that you need to practice here in this world is about kindness and love. So keep practicing, never give up on these lessons. Kindness and love. So as he starts practicing, the John starts practicing about these lessons, he became more and more compassionate towards his fellow mates that he left on earth, and he wanted to go back to earth to teach them what he has learned, and on the earth and in this higher world as well. So then he makes up his mind, and he says that, okay, I'm going back to earth to teach uh, the lessons to my fellow mates. So when he comes back, the first lesson, he finds a young girl there named as Fletcher. And then the first lesson he gives to him is about forgiveness lesson. So when he finds this Fletcher, he had turned into bitterness, because he was again same happened to him. He was outcasted, and then he was bitter about his flock, about his community. So the first lesson that John gives to him is that don't be harsh on them. In casting you out, the other girls only hurt themselves, and one day they will know this, and one day they will see what you see. Forgive them and help them to understand. So this is so truly amazing. When we forgive someone, we have to understand, we have to realize that they are doing something to us because they are not at their level, at that level of understanding. So they are doing maybe out of ignorance, but one day, if they will understand, they will realize what they have done. So our task is to help them and make them realize that that inner thing, that what exists beyond this physical limitations and beyond this physical self. So he said that forgive them and help them to understand. Then it was the end of part 2, and then this is part 3, in which it's said he finds many more students on earth who were outcasted, and but all of them had passion for flying. So these are some important lessons that John gives to them while he is on planet earth. So he says that every girl, or we can say every human, every person has the same potential to realize an unlimited idea of freedom. As our Patrisa says, that we all are same. Once we are enlightened, once we realize our true nature, so we know that this true nature exists in everybody. So no one is above us and no one is below us. As I always say, we are all God. So we all have the same potential to realize an unlimited idea of freedom. But the only thing we need to do is practice meditation every day, and then we can all realize this thing. everything that limits us, we have to put aside. This is so true. So even the family members, parents, if they are not um, helping you to reach your goals, to your ultimate destination, if they are a limitation, then of course you have to put aside everything. Your whole body, from wingtip to wingtip. In terms of Seagull, he was mentioning that your whole body is nothing more than your thought itself. In a form you can see. Break the chains of your thought and you break the chains of your body too. This is also so true. When we, what we think, so we, that thing is reflected in our physical appearance. So any disease, before coming into our physical body, first it comes into our subtler bodies, and it comes through our mental patterns. Once we change our mental patterns, our physical body starts healing too. So freedom is the very nature of being, that whatever stands against that freedom must be set aside, be it ritual, superstition, or limitation in any form. So this is again, if we want a little explanation on this. So any kind of religion or any kind of superstition, any religion, they are in, when we are following any practice, and if we are just limited to worshipping somebody else, in one manner we are enslaving our freedom, isn't it? We are giving away our power to somebody else. It's okay, we can there are definitely higher masters, we can idolize them, but worshipping them just with the closed eyes is not a very good idea. So we can, with learning, from point of learning, we can always reach to them, but idolizing them and wishing and praying that whatever obstacles I have or whatever problems I have, may they be uh, taken away by the master. So this is kind of, you don't want to own your own responsibility, but you want to give away your powers, which you can do yourself. You want to rely on somebody else instead of doing yourself. So once we take our power back, we are free, isn't it? When we feel that we can create our own reality, when we realize this thing, we are free. We are not dependent on anybody in this world then. So the true religion or law is that which leads to freedom. There is none other. So this happens, the next one, they call you devil or God, price of being misunderstood. So this happened to John, that when he's teaching to the students, the other flock says that you can fly this much, this high, because you are the son of great girl. So this what happens. He said that if we all have the same potential, but they don't realize it, they don't want to practice it, and then they just label the one person who has realized as either God or devil. So this is the price of being misunderstood that that person, enlightened person, has to pay in the society. Then he says that all of us can change. You can change your level of consciousness. It's your choice. So when we are meditating, when we are reading right spiritual books and sharing our experiences, we are also changing the level of consciousness. So it's our choice whether we want to meditate or we don't want to meditate. So when we change the level of consciousness, we become more receptive towards new learnings and new vistas of learning. Wisdom opens up for us. Then he says, this is amazingly beautiful. I love this. The definition of love he is saying here. Most of the time we wonder that how can we love somebody who is not good to us? So he's replying here that you don't love hatred or evil. You have to practice and see the real girl, or we can say the real self, the good in every one of them, and to help them see it in themselves. That's what is meant by love. So love is when we think that, oh, how can I love this person? He has done so many bad things, or he doesn't. He's not a meditator or something. Whatever we can feel about the other person, but it's not about loving the physical qualities, good qualities, or the bad qualities, because they are anyways somehow uh, they are society driven, isn't it? We have picked up from our minds only. So all we need to practice is to see the real self, to see the God in everyone, which our Patricia says that we are all God. We have to practice to see and treat everyone as the God and help them realize the godliness within themselves. So, this is the true meaning of love. And the last message he gives before he says goodbye to all of his students on planet Earth, he says that don't believe what your eyes tell you. All they show is limitation. So, the physical senses, if we try to perceive anything through physical senses, they all have limitations. We can't go beyond, we can't perceive the things which are beyond the physical senses. So, to the way to look beyond what is there is look within your understanding and you will find the way to fly or towards the freedom. So these were, though the entire book is amazing, every word, every line, everything in this book was very powerful, very full of wisdom. But I tried to pick a few sentences, few lines which were really, really have, I felt that I should be adding them into my presentation. So this was all about this book. This book is very small book. It almost contains 90 pages and anybody can finish it in one go. When I started reading this book, I thought that uh, initially I thought that it's just about a seagull. What's so special? Why everybody is recommending this book? But then when I started flipping through the pages, it was so gripping. I couldn't finish. I couldn't leave it until I have finished it into its entirety. So this was about this book, and I hope you have enjoyed going through this learnings. And if you are not, then I'm sure when you read this, you are definitely going to enjoy this book a lot. So yeah, I leave this panel open for everyone for their views, ideas, and anything that you want to share. Please go ahead now.
Thank you. Thank you, Ektaji. This is a wonderful book. I got this book as a gift when I'm in college, but I didn't start then to read. After a few years, I started reading this book. After this, I changed that. I used to have a belief that we are limited beings. And after this author, Richard Bach, he has stressed on so many things that we don't have to live within your limits, isn't it? So you can achieve anything in your life. And also few times if you achieve something, people say that, oh, this is gifted for you.
Right.
Oh, you're very blessed. Oh, you're a God's gift and all. Those
Yes.
limitations and all. We all can achieve everything what others have achieved. And these all have changed my mind that we can achieve everything. And the author, what he has put, the spiritual knowledge the author has described in this small little 90 pages of book is tremendous. Every line, it's like
Exactly.
Patriji's word. We feel read in every sentence, then it clicks somewhere. Oh, we heard this from this master. We heard this from Patriji. Oh, we heard this from that
Yes.
master. Yeah, it's a wonderful.
Everything resonates. Yeah, exactly with the words of Patri sir. And yeah, I'm amazed at the capability of this author that in this small book he has managed to pour in so much of wisdom in every word, in every sentence. Everything is so amazing in this book. I would recommend if people here in this group have not read this book, I would highly recommend that please go ahead and read this book.
Yeah, usually when I read a book, I put some lines of underlining with the good sentences. But this book, full book, it's of underlined sentences, and every line is it's like it's coming from a great epic or a Bible or something. It has written in that way. Very nice. And whenever after reading this book, wherever I go, I see a seagull. It's the Jonathan. I call it
right.
Yeah. Thank you, Ektaji, for coming up with this book and sharing to us all. Thank you very
so much, Meenaji. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ekta. Okay, carry on. Someone wants to talk.
Carry on, Andy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, wonderful, Ekta. You have chosen a wonderful book. This is one of my, first books, and this and Illusions. I've read long back, but that time my understanding level and the energy level was not that great. And then every time I read, I get a new message. And today, you have put together all the important messages in the slides, and you have shared. Wonderful. Thank you. And you rightly said, Minagaru also, right? So it's really every line is a message. Every line is a message,
Yes,
and
exactly.
it's a if you look at the gulls, the very right is to fly. So it indicates that freedom is the very nature of the gull, but it's just that
Right.
because of the fear and limitations and all
Yeah.
those things, right? So it's the same. We can compare ourselves with Jonathan, right?
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
They,
it's like not to simply survive, but to excel.
excel.
So
Exactly.
yeah. Thank you for reminding, and I will definitely read it again, with this inspiration. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ekta. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And one other important point I want to say here, I mean, after you were listening to your session, so the fear and these things, they are like shortening our lives, right?
Mm.
So if you see the number of years Jonathan lived compared to other girls, right? So it's because he mastered the fear, and he's kind
Yes.
of faced the fears. So that's why he could live longer.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, this was why. Yeah, good point, Ravi. Yeah, I forgot to mention this. This was mentioned in the book that he has specifically mentioned that boredom and this limitation is what we are making our life shorter. The Jonathan was mentioning that, and he was excited that now I have found the way to freedom. I'm going to go and show it to the flock, but alas, they didn't understand and they just outcasted him. Yeah, yeah, good
yes,
point, Ravi. Yeah,
yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ekta. This is Sri Lakshmi.
Yeah,
So
hi, Sri Lakshmi.
very beautiful presentation, Ekta. Indeed, it was my first book.
Okay.
So when I entered into spirituality, the first book I read was Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and I read all his books like Illusions One. So in the
Mhm,
starting and the earlier days of my spirituality, they are the source of inspiration for me.
mhm,
And yeah, so many times we limit ourselves due to society, so many limitations, right? So we have to
mhm.
learn from this book, like
Exactly.
we should not limit ourselves.
Mm,
So we tend to do so many things, but we forget and we limit ourselves just by seeing society, we are like family members. So this is a beautiful book where we can overcome all our obstacles, and we can go like we can fly high in the sky like a
exactly.
Jonathan.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ekta, for choosing this
Yeah.
beautiful book again.
Yeah. When I was reading, I was feeling that I could resonate that this is reflecting the journey of every spiritual seeker or an enlightened being. So first we go through the struggles, then we go to the higher worlds for further learning, and then when our lessons are done of kindness, love, compassion, then we want to come back to earth for teaching, as Patrisar always says. So beautifully written book. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you once again, Ekta.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi, for sharing. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Ekta ji, Rashakar here, and
Hello.
wonderful and lovely presentation.
Thank you.
Really a great book. I come across this book. I heard about this book about from Newton sir. His enlightenment
Mm,
started from reading this book. Then I, it's really a wonderful book, and the limitations and the small boundaries we create ourselves unknowingly.
yeah.
So it will for a normal person before meditation, I was like that, and I don't know, I keep on creating those fear patterns. So then these kind of books I learned from Patrisa and various masters the need to go beyond and the beautiful life out there. And this book is explaining this same message from Richard Bach. Thank you so much for bringing this.
Yeah, I was also inspired by Dr. Newton. I was going through one of his videos, and in which he was recommending this book a lot. So I was inspired to read this, and then finally, yeah, I got a chance. And when I read it, I had this inner calling that I should be sharing it. And soon we started this club, and I got this opportunity to share with all of you.
Great.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
One more announcement, like if any new people joined today, like book club, and any general questions, like, somebody was asking yesterday to me, why this book club required for spiritual journey, so many things like that. So any questions like that, if you haven't introduced yourself, just please come forward, just say your name and location, or you're just new to this, our group, Breath Meditation UK, Pyramid Foundation UK. Please introduce yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajashekar. Okay, so in chat window there are a few comments. Thank you, Indraji. Thank you, Ekta ma'am. You are fountain. Okay. Thank you, everyone for the comments. Anybody else want to share anything, or if you have any